Hi there, Sage CANADAY of VO2 Max Productions here with my first 2015 video log entry. For those of you that have followed along, I also do this as an audio version on my new podcast, which you could find on iTunes or on my website, sagecanaday.com. And as always, I'm also on other social media at Sage CANADAY, Twitter and Instagram, as well as Sage CANADAY fan page on Facebook. Thanks so much for all the support and all the views and subscriptions. I really appreciate it. And I'll continue on with my random videos, training videos in the mountains with Sandy, but also Training Talk Thursdays, which I haven't been uploading really very regularly on Thursday since the holidays, but I'm gonna try to get back into that. And really appreciate all the comments for new training talk topic ideas that I could talk on the sport of distance running, and all the votes too. So keep them coming and keep sharing the videos. Really means a lot to me, so it's fun to do. But this is kind of just my own recap of 2014 and overcoming an injury. That's the big thing, and then kind of moving forward on what my 2015 is probably going to look like so far, so in case you're interested. Yeah, I was in my 16 years of year-round competitive running, I've basically only been out from a overuse type of injury for 5 weeks total. Is this wood? Can I knock on it? You know, that's not including the time I got 5 stitches after Chuck a Nut 50K, which was my first ultra, because I fell and tumbled into a rock and bashed open my knee. That was 5 weeks of not running because I didn't want the stitches to pop open. It wasn't because I couldn't run because I injured myself. Well, this past 3 weeks I actually kind of injured myself, and I'll get into the details there, but the other time I was really injured, I've had no stress fractures or broken bones, which I think is actually pretty rare for someone who's been running year-round as long as I have. I had all these teammates in college and post-collegiate marathon training. Every season someone would come down with really serious tendonitis, a stress fracture, or they get mono. And I did get mono in college, but that's another story altogether. But we're talking about structural injuries here, mainly tendonitis, soft tissue, and bone. And I think part of that is kind of maybe I was a little lucky genetically. Having good running form definitely helps, but I'm also kind of a wuss. Like, I really back up if I feel any serious niggle or pain. I have progressed my mileage up very slowly over the years, from running 30 to 40 miles a week in high school to slowly progressing up to over 100 my sophomore year of college, and then keeping it around 100, 120 throughout college, hitting 150 once my 5th year of college, but then coming back into the 120s, and now after doing mutt running, rarely cracking 100. And it's not because I'm lazy and I don't think that 120 might help me more than 100. It's because I probably raced too much the last 2 years, doing a race pretty much every month, and I think that kind of it's a good balance to have. And I think the important takeaway is to have balance in your training, run on soft surfaces, address different issues, and I'll get into that more of the overcoming injury part here in a little bit. But needless to say, after North Face 50, which was about almost exactly, I guess it was 4 weeks ago, I ran a real hard 50 miler there basically, and it was really muddy. I was slipping around, you know, balls out, balls to the wall, 50 miles. Really hurt, took a lot out of me, and I didn't really think that much of it after the race in terms of what my recovery, or in terms of how I felt. I felt beat up and I was mentally trashed, but usually I did my usual thing, which I do after all ultras, and I take 4 or 5 days totally off from running, and I'm hobbling around the first couple of days. I got delayed onset muscle soreness, especially in my quads and hamstrings, calves usually. So I started running again, and I was kind of in a hurry because I wanted to do the Houston Marathon, which is actually in like 3 weeks now. It's this month, January. And then I also want to do the Tarawera 100K in February in New Zealand, and it's a race I've done the last 2 years. I love going there, and so I'm all amped up to start training again. I want to get the trials qualifier at Houston. I only had like 5 weeks to train at that point, so I was kind of in a rush, which is never good. So the first couple days I'm all beat up, I'm running. Don't feel horrible, but I feel pretty bad. And then the third day I noticed that my right foot, it really starts hurting, kind of on the bottom outside arch type of area, and I didn't know what it was. But I knew that it really hurt me. The whole run, it didn't change at all. And so I come home, I do some research, self-diagnosis. I knew it wasn't plantar fasciitis. I know what that feels like. That's usually more in the the medial side of your arch to back to your heel bone where it connects, and it was more on the outside. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I somehow broke my 5th metatarsal kind of on the outside of my ankle there, but usually metatarsal stress fractures hurt more on the top of your foot where your laces are, and it's usually more like the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th metatarsal that break from overuse. Sudden impact, of course, could cause a lot of things to break, but I didn't have that. Although I did always notice over the years when I'm running on trails, and this is in all brands of shoes, on all trails, even flat sidewalks for that matter, I always turn my right ankle out, like actually turn it. And I don't twist it all the way, it doesn't break, but there's definitely some more wiggle in my right ankle. And this type of action, I was doing research, and I see that the peroneal tendons run down the outside of your leg, kind of on the outside edge, and around that little knob bone on the outside of your ankle. They kind of go around that, and then it wraps under, one of them wraps under the arch of your foot and goes kind of across the diagonal bottom of your foot, and the other one kind of runs on the outside edge of your pinky toe. So if this was my foot, it would go like this. And that's where the pain was. And I found out that, any type of ankle movement, basically, up and down or even side to side, it was really torquing on that thing, and that's what really hurt. So I saw my guy Jeff in Boulder, Jeff Paulson. He works at Rally Sport. He does acupuncture and massage, and he stuck some needles down the side of my shin and in my toe, which really hurt. I hate needles, and he hooked electrodes up to it and treated that well. I got some pain patches. Kind of smells like menthol mint. And then I was like, well, I'm just gonna take a couple days off, and then I'll go home for the holidays, see how I feel. And basically, I wanted to start training for Houston, and I wanted to start training for any race, coming up in February at Tarawera. And I realized I ran for like 20 minutes at home, and I was in pain the whole time. And at that point, I was just like, you know what? You can't do this. You only have 4 weeks to train. It's not healthy. Your body's failing you finally. It's a good sign to take some time off, extended break from running. So it's kind of a forced break, really. I could have hobbled my way to a slow marathon time, and maybe I could have finished Tarawera, but it really hurt, and it hurt. I took a week off, and it still hurt when I was trying to run. So then I was really discouraged. It helped that it was the holiday season. I had some Christmas shopping to do anyway. It was all cold and rainy outside, so I just didn't run, and I thought maybe I should just hobble around in a boot even, take some weight off of it. And I continued to ice it, though. I put my foot in ice water, and I didn't run. I did some cycling, some unicycling even, and I took a couple pain pills, ibuprofen, but not very many, like 3 times over the course of 3 days, I should say, low dose. And just rested it up, and then I came back real slowly after basically 3 weeks off, and I lost a lot of fitness, obviously, but I haven't felt pain yet, knock on wood somewhere. And today was actually the first day where I was actually able to run 10 miles continuous without feeling any pain, which is a decent amount for me compared to starting off at 3 and 4 on the treadmill like I was 5 days ago. So progressing well from that. But what I really found overcoming this injury, hopefully so far, and overcoming my shin splints as well. In 2013, I said after the Bandera 100K, I had shin splints. I was all jacked up for 2 weeks after the race, and I did the same thing. I didn't run. I just stopped running, and I started doing some exercises to address the issue, because usually with injuries, these types of things, it's usually caused by some sort of little muscle imbalance, something you're doing, your form's a little bit off, or you've started increasing your mileage, or doing some crazy speed work, or something like that. It's usually a new stimulus that jacks you up. And so with the Bandera, to overcome the shin splints, is actually my other leg, I just did a lot of tapping, and I was just tapping my foot as I was sitting at the computer. I tap it really fast standing up, and you really, after 20 or 30 taps, you start feeling your shin, or at least I did, maybe I have weak shins, you start feeling that muscle in your shin really working and getting tired, and I think that strengthened it eventually. And I'd also roll it out with a roller, kind of knead it out with my hands or with one of those sticks, but that seemed to help a lot, as well as ice, and obviously just resting it, wearing a compressed sport calf sleeve as well. And I took the same approach to this injury well. I found the best exercise actually to do was really simple, and it was standing on one leg and just trying to balance. And first do it with your eyes open, because it's easier that way. And then of course, as you get more advanced, you close your eyes and you balance, and you start holding your leg up in the air. That doesn't hurt. I had my weak ankle down on the ground, holding my other leg up in the air. In a running motion, I find that with your eyes closed, you're really torquing on that ankle, and I could feel the tendon under my foot really kind of working and strengthening itself. But it also improves your perception of balance, and it's going to work those muscles that are weak. And I obviously have some weak muscles on the outside of my shin that need to be addressed. So that really helped. And then also just, I read this on the internet, putting a shirt on the ground or a towel and just using your bare foot, just squeezing your toes and kind of squinching along on the towel. And of course that helps with plantar fasciitis, all sorts of things to strengthen the muscles in your feet. And I thought that would help, and it seemed to make the pain go away. So I've been really lucky so far, but needless to say, because of this setback and injury, I just totally canceled my plans to go to the Houston Marathon. There's no way I could get in shape in 5 weeks. Well, it would have been less than that, or do the speed training or necessary mileage to be able to get a trials qualifying performance. And on the same token, I pulled out of the Tarawera 100K because there's no way I was running a hard 100K in New Zealand, as much as I wanted to go to New Zealand. Really hard 100K probably would jack me up pretty bad, and there's no coming back from that. But I do want to say I have big plans for the rest of 2015 looking forward. I've just decided that I'm probably going to do the LA Marathon in March. It's the US National Championship, the USATF Championship Marathon, and I really want to trials qualifier. It looks like a nice competitive race, and there shouldn't be any snow down there, hopefully. So it'll be good conditions, and I think it's a decently fast course. So looking for the sub 2:18 there. And I got 10 weeks now. It's still a little close. It's gonna be a stretch, but I'm gonna try to do it and get my speed back. I've been running on the snow and ice here in Boulder on the streets, which is kind of hard, but trying to get healthy, build my mileage up, then add the speed necessary to run a good time in the marathon. At my personal best, or at least close to it within a minute, would get me that qualifying time. So that's a big goal for March. And then moving forward after that, I'm signed up for the Comrades Marathon in May, which is the largest ultra marathon in the world. And it's down in South Africa, and it's a 56-mile race. It's every year they alternate it between these two cities, and it's either a net uphill year, and then the next year they go back down. And this year it's an up year, so I like that because it's a net uphill race, and I think there'll be a nice American contingent there. I know like Mike Wardian's done it before, Josh Cox, and actually the last American man to win Comrades was Alberto Salazar, which was a while ago. But I'm really excited for that one. It's basically it'd be my first road ultra, first 50-mile type of ultra that is actually on a flat course, relatively flat. I know it's rolling hills, but I've never run a fast ultra yet on a less than 10,000 feet of climbing type of 50-mile course. So I'm really looking forward to that and doing some more faster road training, just because I think it's a good change in stimulus. But moving on beyond that, I got big plans for the summer. I really want to do my first 100-mile race, and looking at the timing and the schedule, and looking at where I want to go to the mountains again. And I won't be doing any sky running races unless I jump in Speed Goat in July, but that's yet to be seen. But I will be going over to Europe to represent Team USA again for the World Mountain Running Championships, which is the long distance one, I should say. It's the long distance mountain running championships, and it's going to be held in conjunction with the Zermatt Marathon on the 4th of July in Switzerland. So that'll be a nice competitive race. I think it's a big net uphill too, which I love. And then moving on from shifting to that mountainous type of running, I want to do the UTMB 100 at the end of August, and that's going to be a real focus. I like to train over there in Chamonix for a month at least to prepare for the event, hopefully get out on the course, because I know it's a big crapshoot. It'd be my first 100 mile, and I'm scared. I'm scared of the distance. The sheer distance enough is very intimidating, but also the fact that it's in a different country and that it has 30,000 feet of climbing with huge vertical relief in the Swiss Alps. It could be an epic disaster, an epic blow up. And it's a very competitive race. A lot of people would say I think it's probably the most competitive 100-mile trail race in the world. Depends who shows up, I guess, but it's a big race too, and it's very the atmosphere there, I've heard, is very exciting, and I'd like to take part in that and have it be my first 100 miler, even though I think there's a high potential for a lot of things to go very wrong. Just the sheer amount of vertical, but also the weather over there is a huge factor. I've heard it changes very fast in the mountains. It dictates how the course is, how muddy it gets sometimes. And the fact that also you're guaranteed to run all night. You start later in the afternoon, and it's not a fast 100-mile course, so you're gonna be running all throughout the whole night, and so that's gonna be the bulk of your race, which is a little rough too, because I'm not used to doing anything like that. And the aid station, crew support, those kinds of things would be really critical. So it's gonna take a huge effort, but I'm really excited to try this new adventure and to really test myself in the mountains at the 100-mile distance against international competition. So really honored to be able to take part in that, and excited for that. Definitely have to change my training a bit from this road marathon training, but after that, I assume it's probably going to beat me up hopefully if I finish. I'll be pretty beat up after that, so I don't have any definite plans for that fall, but I know I'll definitely want to come back to the North Face 50-mile endurance challenge in December, and depending on how my marathon goes, I may try to chase another trials qualifier. Hopefully I could get it at LA in 10 weeks, but if I happen to miss that 218, I'll try to chase it all the way to the deadline. I think it's January 2016 is when they'll cut it off, but that's really important to me to get the marathon trials qualifier, because it would be my third one. I'd like to keep the streak going, and I've had a history of narrowly missing on my first attempt and then getting it on my second attempt. Back in 2007, I missed it by 20 seconds in my first marathon, and then I got it eventually by 17 seconds. And then in 2011, I got the standard I missed it by 18 seconds at Chicago one year, and then I ended up getting it by quite a bit later on. But it usually takes a couple tries, because lots of things could go wrong, from stomach issues to poor pacing, poor weather, or just not quite having the fitness to go there. And I will tell you, you may find, trying to crack a certain time barrier, you could relate to this, or qualifying for Boston or something. It really sucks when you have like 100 meters to go in a marathon, and you could see the finish line right there, and the time you need to hit is right there, and it ticks away, and you could just like reach out and grab the finish line, but it takes you 15 or 20 seconds to get there still. That's rough, but it happens, and sometimes you sneak in just in time, and sometimes you don't. So that's enough of my rant, I guess, for now, but thanks so much for all the subscriptions, and thanks for following along if you're listening to the podcast. As I said before, I'm going to continue with the Training Talk Thursdays, as well as some other maybe training videos or race videos, hopefully, and footage that I could piece along my journey through mutt running and road running. So thanks again for all the support and views. I really appreciate it. Couldn't do this without you guys. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.